Hello everyone, welcome to Brain Blitz Audios. Today, we'll be looking at how to solve a 4x4 Rubik's Cube in an easy manner. We'll be showing you how to solve a 4x4 in very easy steps. Here goes.
Okay, so we're going to be solving a 4x4 Rubik's Cube here. So before we start solving this, let's look at some of the notations that we're going to be using. Now you might know that while solving the 3x3, you would have used notations such as R and R dash to represent a turn of the right side clockwise or counterclockwise. And the same thing for the left side of the cube, the upside, the downside, the front side, and the back side. However, in a 4x4, we introduce a new type of move known as the wide move. As you can see in this figure, the right side of the cube, the first layer, when you turn it clockwise, we call it R. Well, when you turn the first two layers on the right side clockwise, we call it an R wide. So if we look at it here, this would be an R move, while this would be an R wide move. The same thing on the left side. This would be L wide, while this will be L. Let's look at the top side. A move like this is called as up, while a move like this is known as UW. While a move like this is known as D, and a move like this is known as DW. The front side and the back side can also be done the same way. So this is B, this is F, this is BW, this is B prime, and this is F prime. And similar way, we can also do wide moves on both the front and the back sides. Okay, so let's revise it one more time. A prime symbol represents an anti-clockwise turn. That is, if it's R, then this would be R prime because it's turning anti-clockwise. And a wide or a W at the end of that letter, such as RW, would represent a wide move like this. So we have R prime, and similarly we'll have RW and RW prime. Similarly, we have L prime, LW prime, U prime, UW prime, F prime, FW prime, D prime, DW prime, and finally B prime and BW prime. So these are the notations that you should be learning, and these notations are going to be used by us to describe the algorithms that we'll be using to solve a 4x4 Rubik's Cube. Okay, so coming back to the 4x4 Rubik's Cube that we have, so we're going to solve it in the basic beginner's method, and we call this method as reduction. So basically, we'll make centers made of 4 pieces and edges made of 2 pieces. So in a way, we're reducing this 4x4 into a 3x3, which you'll be able to solve normally. So let's begin solving the 4x4. So first thing we need to do is we need to find and make the center pieces. So these 4 pieces will make a center, and they need to be of the same color. So let's start with the white center, as that's according to confirmation. So what we do is we find white pieces. So I find a white piece here and a white piece here. And so what we do is we bring them close together so that we make a 2x1 bar. So we made 1 bar, and now we search for the other bars. So we find 2 of them here, and now they're aligned on the same side. So we'll align them in such a way that when we flip this, we find that they've made a 2x1 bar. So we have 2 white 2x1 bars, and now we flip them together to form a white center. So we've formed the white center. Now we need to form another center. So if you have solved a 3x3 Rubik's Cube, you should know that white is opposite yellow. So this side must contain the yellow center. So we must make yellow 2x1 bars. So there's already one made here. Let's search for the other 2 pieces. Here they are. So now when we flip them, we find that they've made a 2x1 bar, and there's another 2x1 bar here. But now how do I put this 2x1 bar over here? If I flip it like that, you see that I've made a yellow center, but I've broken the white center here. So the best way to do this is to align these two bars in such a way that they are on the same layer. See, they're on the same alignment. And then when you flip this, you know that you've broken the white center. But now what you can do is you can flip this over to the other layer like that, and then flip the white part back down. So now we've formed our yellow center and also a white center. We have both the yellow and the white centers. Now we're going to be solving out the other centers in this fashion. So what we do is we keep both of these at both these ends so that they have lesser chances of being spoiled. So let's go for a color, say red. So I find two red pieces here, flip them up, I make a 2x1 bar, and then I flip it so that it only goes in one layer because we're making a wide move like that. I don't want to spoil it. So let's hunt for some other pieces. Yeah, I find two of them here. Join them up. They form another 2x1 bar. Now we take both bars and join them together like this. So we've made our red center. So we have white, red, and yellow centers. So now we could do any number of arrangements to make any type of center, but the best thing to do here is to make a green center, which is quite next to the red center and the white center. So if I were to flip it like, if I were to use it like this, it'll be white, red here, and green on the top. That's the standard conformation of colors on most 3x3 and 4x4 Rubik's Cubes, and you need to align by that convention. Otherwise, when you try to solve it using the 3x3 methods, you'll find that it doesn't fit. So let's search for 3x3 cubes, 3x3 pieces. So I find a piece here. So you see that both these pieces are here. So what we do is we join them, but I know that I've broken my red center. So I bring it out of the way and then I put it back up. So I fix the red center, but now I have a green bar. So we have another green bar here. So let's bring it up, put it out of the way, and put it back down. And so now we need to put the green center right here. So we need to push this green bar here. But if I do this, it's not gonna work because the red center is broken. So I keep it on the same alignment, and then I push it forward, and then I put it out of the way on the other side, and then I push the other center back up. So now the red is fixed and we have a new green center. Now we have two more colors to fix, and if you notice, if one of them is fixed, the whole cube gets fixed. So what we do is we try to align them in such a way that when we flip this over, you find that we make two bars. So if you notice, we have a blue piece over an orange piece. And over here, if we flip it like that, we see that we have a blue piece and an orange piece on the other layer. So if we push it together, we find that they make two bars. So let's flip it over to the other side and then push it back down. So now you've seen that we made the entire centers for the 4x4 Rubik's Cube. That's the first step in our reduction method. Okay, so the next step, what we do is we try to make the edges like these, and they have to be of the same color. So let's hunt for two edge pieces. So let's hunt for them. Yeah, so I find, I'm turning and twisting, I find that these two are the same color. However, I notice that they're on the same layer, so I cannot bring them together. So what I do is I flip one of these 180 degrees so that when I look at them, so I find one of them on the top and one of them on the bottom. So what I do is I bring them together. Now you notice that when I bring these two together, the centers are broken. But that's okay, we can fix it by a simple move. We push this side up. We now replace it with another unsolved piece, and we push it back down. The unsolved piece is now down here, and then we fix the center, so now we have a solved bar. Now it's important when we're doing this that we should use the unsolved pieces to replace the solved ones. So let's hunt for another piece. And yeah, so I find orange-green pieces here and here. So what I do is I bring them together. So now they're aligned. I push it up, and then I find an unsolved piece. So that one's there. So I replace it there, and then I push this back down, and I undo this move. So when I undo it, the center is now fixed, but I also fixed this edge. So we're going to keep continuing solving like this until we make a lot of edges. So let's look at some more scenarios here. And so we're hunting for two pieces here. So yeah, so I find yellow and blue on different layers that I can solve. So I push it over here, and I find that I've broken the center. So I push this to the top, replace it with an unsolved piece so that our algorithm works. And then I push this back down, and I replace and undo the set of moves that I did earlier. So now I fixed that piece. So we're going to continue solving this on and on. And so when I'm twisting things, I find that I've got another one, so red and blue. So now let's twist it. We fix this, push it up, move it to the side, replace it with an unsolved piece that's pushed down, and now we undo this move. So now we've fixed that center and that edge. So let's keep doing this until we reach a particular scenario. And so we've continued doing the same steps, and we've boiled down to the final steps here. And so we find that there are three things that are not solved, three of the pieces, and we notice that every other edge piece is solved. So now I need to replace both the blues and the oranges here. So I do this, but when I do that, there is no other piece here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece that's not solved to the top. And then what do? I redo that move. So blue, orange, put them together. They're aligned. Push it up. And then now you replace it with this unsolved piece, and you push it back down, and then you undo the center swap. So you've now boiled down to the final scenario. And here we have two unsolved pieces that need to be solved, but the problem is that every other piece on the board, on the cube, has been solved. So when you use the earlier technique that I've mentioned, like this, if I do that, then you notice that there is no other piece that I can replace it. If I replace it with a solved piece, then it's just going to break that piece apart. So it's just going to be back to square one. So we'll be back to square one. So how do you solve this issue? So over here we have our first algorithm. So what we do is we keep these pieces such that the pieces of the same color are on the same layer. So red, green on the same layer, and orange, white on the same layer. And then I'm going to bring these two together such that red, green is meeting orange, white. And now I use this algorithm. R, F prime, U, R prime, F. And then what I do, I replace and undo those moves. And when I do that, both of these pieces are solved. So now it's basically just a 3x3 that you can solve using any type of method. So I use the basic beginners method. If you're using something more advanced like F12 or C3, you can do so. So I'm going to use the basic beginners method here. I'm making a cross, etc., etc. And that's why you need to know the 3x3 before solving a 4x4, because we're basically making the 4x4 to act like a 3x3. So see, you have a cross here. So that's the point here. So we need to solve this 4x4 in the way that you usually solve a 3x3. And so a couple of facts about this cube. This is known as the Rubik's Revenge, and it has 4 sides opposed to its more famous cousin. And it's also part of the trend of Rubik's Cubes. You know, the Rubik's Cube is known as the world's most famous toy. So now we're solving the world's most famous toy here. And this is what we get. So now we've got a fat center, a fat edge, and the same corners. So this is essentially a 3x3, and we'll be using methods of 3x3 such as basic beginners, C12, etc. to solve this. Now the troubles begin. when you're trying to solve the top layer of a 4x4 using the 3x3 methods, you notice that there is this weird scenario. So usually in the basic beginners method, you have an L, a backward L, a line, or a plus. And our goal was to get to that plus. But now you notice we only have one edge present at the center. And so this is known as OLL parity. And this is really complicated. Even if you try using this method, it's not going to help, because now we've got something like this, which is again not our objective. So this is when we get to the basic beginners method. And when you have other methods like C3 or F12, etc., this just wouldn't look right. Whatever the top layer that you're doing just won't look right. So this is known as OLL parity. So it's only found in a 4x4. This case is not found in a 3x3. And so this should be rectified using an algorithm. And it's pretty long, but there is no other way. You just have to learn it. So the algorithm goes like this. RW2, B2, U2, LW, U2, RW prime, U2, RW, U2, F2, RW, F2, LW prime, B2, RW2. So when we've done this algorithm, you notice that we are back to the L position. And so this is a normal case in a 3x3, and then now you can use regular methods to solve this. And so now you have a regular 3x3 scenario after using the algorithm. So we are back to solving the 4x4 using the methods of the 3x3 Rubik's Cube. So here we are. Let's solve it using 3x3. So here we go. And now we reach the scenario where we have to make the corners right. And as you can see, there's no other corners. So let's do it randomly. And let's see. So let's try it again. And this is really just me doing the 3x3. There is nothing of the 4x4 or the algorithms that you need to learn about. If you know how to do a 3x3, then this is just child's play. You can just do it normally according to the 3x3. So what I'm getting to, that is this case, is what we need to be looking at next. So this is another scenario that's only found in a 4x4. So now we found that the corners here, two of them are unsolved and in different positions, while two of them are in the same positions. If you're using the basic beginners method, this or something like this would be the scenario. If it's something else, then there will be a more complicated scenario on the top. So this is another parity in the 4x4 Rubik's Cube. We call it the PLL parity. So again, this can only be used by another special algorithm that we're going to be telling you. This algorithm is comparatively simpler, and it goes like this. UW2, RW2, U2, RW2, R2, U2, RW2, UW2. So now you notice that it kind of becomes retrogressive because our edges got swapped, but that's the objective. So we swap the edges so that now the corners will be right. So let's continue solving it using a 3x3, and let's see what happens. So this is basically now solving a 3x3, and so now you notice in the earlier case, both of these were in different positions, but now they're in the same position. They're in the respective position that can be used for solving the 3x3, and the others are completely solved. So this is how you remove PLL parity in a 4x4 Rubik's Cube. And so from here onwards, it's just solving a 3x3. I recommend you watch our video on the 3x3. And so after a couple of steps, you have your first 4x4 Rubik's Cube completely solved.
That ends our tutorial on the 4x4 Rubik's Cube. We hope you found this interesting and informative, wasn't it? For more such useful and interesting content, please subscribe to our channel, Brain Blitz Audios, like the video if you like what you saw, and post your suggestions in the comment section down below. And also press the bell icon to get notifications about our latest content. Until the next episode, see you soon. Bye bye.